Sun Ra is in the WXPN studios with 2 microphones in front of him, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming up to be here tonight.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. I asked Sun Ra to come. We've done this before when he's played in the area, and also he's been gracious enough to come to the studios before because he's got a lot of wisdom. He's probably the greatest living composer in the world, but that's my own feeling about him. I'm asking Sun Ra to be here tonight because a lot of people don't understand what he's trying to say or do musically with his stage presence, because you can't just listen to a Sun Ra album, because a lot of times when they record it, the musicians end up dancing or doing something in the studios. But a lot of people don't understand what he's singing about, don't understand what his music is about, because how can he play Cole Porter or sing God Bless the Child by Billie Holiday and then get into some very spaced out music? So I'm going to turn over the microphones to Sun Ra for this evening, just asking a question occasionally, and ask him to talk about the music, starting off talking a little bit about your background, which goes back through eons of music. Would you do that, please?
Well, my background is outer space right now. It has a wide background because that's why I'm dealing with things that are of infinity. So you have to have the proper background for that. Most of the musicians on Earth use Earth as a background, and that's good. It's because they haven't progressed above that level yet. They play what they see and what they feel, what they know about. I play what I don't know about sometimes. That's the difference. You might say I play the cosmos chaos or the cosmos ignorance, because as far as people on this planet are concerned, they know far more less than they do what they know. I mean, that it's so much that they don't know until what they do know is not even important. So it comes down to that point, well, they don't really know anything. Proof of it is the state of the world today. Nobody knows what to do, because in the first place, this planet is sitting out in the midst of space, just sitting out there. It's a liability. It's practically bankrupt as far as when it comes to, if you had to take inventory to see what it has produced. It hadn't really produced anything for the betterment of all the people on the planet, all nations, and male, female too. It hadn't, and children too. It hasn't done that. Still got the same old story about misery and bewilderment. It's the same thing as it ever was. Nothing has changed here. So my music is about changing things. I never was satisfied with the planet. From a child, I always was complaining about the planet, even though my people would tell me I didn't have anything to worry about. Why was I complaining? I just complained because although I was doing all right, I saw some more people who weren't. And I saw some little children who were crippled. Grown people too. I saw people in all kind of terrible conditions. I never did understand that, and I never did feel that it was necessary or that it had to be. I never could get that out of my mind, and I haven't gotten it out yet. I had this feeling that there's something better for humanity. It's just a matter they just haven't reached for it yet. This music is an attempt to get them to reach for the unknown, not knowing what they're going to get. But whatever it would be, it wouldn't be as bad as what they already have, because what they have always ends up into something that's bad. And you have to judge a tree by the fruit. And when you look at the world today, then of course the seeds that have been planted have brought forth something that's not too good for people, it's not suitable. So then having this sort of spirit or this sort of mind, well, I've always been terribly dissatisfied with the planet. Not with governments or anything like that. Men need government, but governments, it's not the governments that's to blame, but the men there are just men. They don't know too much. They might go to school and learn things, but then the schools are limited because a lot of things that educators haven't touched upon, they're just getting around to psychic things now. There are a lot of things that are of great value to people that haven't been touched upon. Now, the music is what can do it, because the music is it's a universal language. It's also a pure language, because whereas men can speak words, make mistakes, they can tell some lies, and they're so well put together and sound so pleasant, you might think that it's the truth. But then when a musician who's really schooled or who's really a natural musician, whenever he plays something, he doesn't have to be too well schooled. It's one thing that people in the world know. They know when a musician makes a mistake. He can make a mistake in a melody they never heard before, and they know it. And he can make a mistake in the rhythms, and they know it. He can make a mistake in the harmonies. They know it. They know one thing. They know when a musician makes a mistake. Now, politicians can make mistakes, and preachers can make mistakes. Teachers can make mistakes, too. And students don't even know it, but it's once somebody can't make a mistake, that's a musician. Scientists can make mistakes, too, and go for years, and everybody thinks it's the truth. But a musician is caught right on the spot. He made a mistake. I know one day, right in Philadelphia, I was composing a song called Pleiades. I had 4 flutes playing. One flute player, then he was playing it, but he wasn't really playing it to suit me. Before I could say anything, a man walked in the house off the street, a black man. He walked up behind the flute player, and he was pointing to him, and he was saying he didn't have it. Now, he had never heard the song before. The notes were being played, but he pointed to the one that didn't have it. So then that's what I'm saying, that people just know. They know things about music. They can feel things about music. If I've had cases happen to me where, like in New York, a drummer wanted to play with me, and I was saying, well, no, you're not ready yet. He said, well, I've been playing 5 years with you. And why am I not ready? I said, well, I don't know, but you're playing, but you're not playing what it's going to take. We were going to Harlem. I said, I don't think you should go out there and play. But anyway, he went. I had 2 drummers. There's a black woman sitting on the front seat. All at once she said, this is the best band I ever heard. Is something wrong, though? She finally pointed at the drummer and says, him. He doesn't belong up there. Now, I've had that to happen to me in several cases where people, they said, no, he don't belong up there, and they pick out the one who doesn't. And so it doesn't come down to how many notes a musician can play or how much schooling he has or how much he knows. It's not like that, this band. It's just they have to fit. They have to belong up there. And I tell some musicians that they don't understand. They know they're good musicians, but they don't understand what I mean until they get on the bandstand. Sitting outside off the bandstand is different from sitting on the bandstand. Quite often it gets very hot on the bandstand. It gets so hot that if a musician don't really have himself together, he have to get off. I had an experience like that in New York City where a bass player was playing with me. All at once he got off the stage and packed up his fiddle and walked on out. I'd see him for 2 years. I'd be seeing him. I didn't say nothing to him. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't say anything when he walked out the door for his bass. But one day in Harlem I saw him, maybe about 2.5 years later. And then he talked to me. He said, well, where you at? I said, I'm here talking to you. I'm standing here talking. He said, I don't mean that. I mean, I played with a lot of band leaders. I never played with a band where what happened to me, I mean, something happened to me when I was on the stage. So you remember when I walked off the stage? I said, how can I forget it? He said that the reason he walked off because his heels got hot. His heels got so hot that he said it looked like they were going to burn up. He had to get off the stage. He said, I don't understand that. Why did that happen? Well, like I said, something else be going up on that stage for a musician. And even somebody from the audience get up there, they'll find out that it's something happening. Like, this music has been tested out in all kind of ways. For instance, like in Chicago, once I was placed in a position where I had to play the organ by myself opposite a blues and rock and roll trio. They had the organ, they had the drum, and saxophone. All I had was me. The owner of the place told me, said, well, you playing an organ like it should be played, so play it for me. Don't pay any attention to the public. Well, I was playing my space stuff then in this blues place. So one night a man came up. He was standing on the stage, and I was playing. So he said, folks, he ain't BSing. He playing spades. Then I kept on playing, and ended the piece. I started to play. He said, wait a minute, don't take me out to Jupiter no more. Let me out the stage. That's where the man in the street felt that. Now, it's something to say that something can be done about a planet like this, but you see it's getting worse and worse. They say the darkest hour before dawn. It must be near dawn for this planet, because it's bad everywhere you go. It's bad for people, but it's also bad for leaders. And if something isn't done, leaders are going to strike on people. I've been saying that for the last 2 years, because leaders are getting deposed, assassinated, and all that. After a while, leaders will get together and have a government of the leaders for the leaders by the leaders. That's the next thing might happen to this planet. A government of the governments for the governments by the governments. They tried the people, but leaders have to be given some consideration. It's very difficult to even think about governing a man. They all got their own ideas about what should be. It makes it very difficult for somebody in human form to try to lead people. And the people don't realize that if they just take a good look at themselves, they're not such a good bargain for being models of righteousness either. But if they had some kind of consideration for the leaders and show some consideration for each other, maybe leaders would be taught how to treat people. But then, unfortunately, people mistreat each other. They don't give leaders an example of how they should be treated. They shoot each other. They cut each other. They hate each other. They curse at each other. That's a bad example for people to set for leaders who see that and might get a very bad impression about people, not even want to lead them or do anything for them because they're so bad. Well, then when it comes down to people really facing the truth, that would be the day. It's possible that music in a pure form can help people to see themselves as they are, and then it can help them to see themselves as they should be. When they can see themselves as they should be and see themselves as they are, something can happen, a work for humanity. At this time, they're so busy looking at other people's faults they can't see their own. This music is like a mirror. You keep on listening to it, and you can see something. You can see your alter self. You can see beyond tomorrow. You can discard the future. I'm talking about things like that because who needs a future that's bad? So I would say that if the future is bad for people, they should discard it and get them an alter future, which is what I'm talking about on the mathematical plan. Everything is done by mathematics, so if you can develop an atomic bomb, I'm sure you can develop an altered destiny. But the background, as far as me playing music, I'm just, I'm just like the bees. You see, they learn how to make honey, and if you ask them where they learn how to make honey, well, they really couldn't tell you. They just want to make some honey. I get the bees make their honey. I make music. That's the way it is. I'm like I told one of the musicians in my band. He lately gotten in there, and I told him I'm just a natural. I played about 4 hours on one song and showed him all kind of patterns on one song. He was sitting looking. I said, I'm a natural. Naturals can do that. They just do things that other people can't do because they're sent to a planet where the people can learn, and that the people, if they can respect natural talent, they get out all that difficulties because nature always sends answers to people, like herbs to heal them when they're sick. And nature has a way to help people in all these difficulties. But the answers will come from, you might say, nature's children or nature's naturals. They would know how to tell people what to do about this situation because nature does want people to live. The first law of nature is self-preservation, so most certainly it wants people to live. So therefore, it would have a way to protect them. Of course, it got ways to destroy them too, but that's only because they don't listen. Like I was reading the paper the other day that a psychic in Florida had predicted Guatemala was going to, everything that happened that was going to happen. Of course, the people didn't listen. And no doubt, all of the catastrophes that happen on this planet, they are wanted and sent. It's just a matter of whether people are listening. And they can always avoid anything that's bad. Of course they can, because they're always avoiding something that's good for them. So if they do one, they can do the other.
A lot of people wonder, when you're talking about outer space, exactly what you do mean. And I'm just looking because, okay, somebody once heard you perform and sing your song Space is the Place. And she got very upset because she thought you were saying, run away from Earth, hide Earth, and go to outer space. And you told me in the car that that's not what you were saying. And maybe you should explain that, because a lot of people can't understand when you come out dressed in the garb of outer space, or sing songs about taking a satellite to Jupiter, or rocket number 9, or have you heard of the latest news from Neptune? Why is space the place?
Well, in the first place, planet Earth is hanging out here in outer space. It's just sitting out here doing nothing. A real liability if you take an inventory of what's been happening here all along. So when I say outer space, it's a space that's further out than the immediate surrounding territory. They're already out in outer space. Furthermore, this planet is a spaceship too. The last time they had an earthquake in Philadelphia, it sounded like a spaceship, like a motor down in the ground. I was awake that night. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like a motor was trying to get ready to start. Maybe this engine or motor is down up under Philadelphia. So it's a strange town, according to W.C. Field. Maybe that's what it is. This is where the engine room is, and down up under it, it was trying to get started. It definitely sounded like an engine. It just didn't get started. Now, when I'm talking about outer space, well, I'm a scientist myself, and I believe a lot of things. I believe that everything is the truth, and at the same time, everything is a lie. It's according to which side of the fence you're on. Because of that, like you take in this country, the major book has been the Bible for a long time. Everything is based on that anyway. This book says that planet Earth is cursed. So why should I want to stay on a cursed planet like this? I didn't curse it myself, but it does say that the ground is cursed. So then if you get the people off of here, they would most certainly be in a better condition if they're on a planet that's been cursed. They should get off of here. So then if they go to another planet that hasn't been cursed, possibility that the misery that they're suffering would not be present. If people are condemned to die on planet Earth, if they leave here, they'd be in somebody else's jurisdiction. At least a sentence of death couldn't follow them to another planet. Because when you move from state to state, the laws change. You're up under somebody else's jurisdiction. And if you change planets, you most certainly won't be under the laws of this planet. Because each planet has its own code, you see. So that's the main thing I'm thinking about. If you can get off the planet, you most certainly will be getting away from this sentence of death or whatever it is that's causing people all this misery and suffering. Well, they say this planet is getting crowded. It looked like a lot of territory here to me, but then they said that it's getting crowded. The way people hate each other, they must be too close together. It must be getting crowded. So the best thing is to just move on out in outer space and give each nation a planet of its own. Furthermore, my idea is to give everyone some parts of the universe so everybody has some land, everybody would have some collateral, and everybody would share in the universe. After all, the universe is so big. I mean, the creation is so immense, it's endless. So why not? If every person had a share in the universe, it would give them they would feel that they had something. They also would see that they got some kind of inheritance. Everyone would be wealthy, you might say. That's the best way. Everything out in outer space is of value, immeasurable value. So if each person owns something out there, even a little satellite, they would have something of value. They'd have something that no one else had. That seemed far-fetched, but like I said, if everyone had some collateral, everyone would have credit. If they wanted to, everyone would be not rich, but wealthy. Other things have been tried on the earth plane. It didn't work because some segments of different nations didn't like it. So as long as you got one set of men like one thing, another set of men don't like, then you got this confusion. But if I know no man would really oppose being wealthy or having a share in the universe. So the first time, to think of that would see that everyone would they'd want that, even though it might seem an impossibility. So what? A drowning man can't be worrying about a straw not going to save him. He might reach for it. And that's the way this planet is now. The people are facing a situation where they're going to be compelled to reach out for that which will cause them to survive. It isn't anything they can do about it. The conditions will get worse and worse and worse all over the planet. So bad that the leader's going to want somebody to lead them. Instead of, they can't look to the people to lead them, so the leader's going to have a leader of leaders. You might say a king of kings and lord of lords, the way they've been singing about it. But now, so that's the reason I'm saying that outer space, it's better for a person to go to outer space than to go to inner space, and they got to go somewhere. This planet is just like a railroad station. Everybody always going somewhere. They don't stay here. They come here, and then they leave. It's better to leave here alive than to leave here dead. If they go out of space, they will leave here alive. But if they stay here, they most certainly would have to die and go somewhere where they don't even know where it's at, over to invisibility. But the logical thing then is to get in some spaceships and take off, go somewhere. Travel broadens one's mind anyway, they said. So I would say that most people have traveled all over this planet, and their minds haven't got broadened yet, so it must mean travel broadens one's mind if you're traveling out of space, because you see so much out there, so much endlessness, until you have to have a broad mind. The concepts, the impressions that would be in a person's mind, terrific even to think about. You look out there at close quarters to the endlessness of everything, would change any man, put a little fear into him too. It's exactly what men need at this point. They've gotten so proud, and they think they know everything. well, they need to find out that they don't know anything. They come to a point where they can say, the only thing I know is that I don't know. And that's when man will have wisdom, because man is so small in the universe. So then I said, I take the music to try to give the impression of what I have felt. And what I felt always has been about space. I never have felt that this was the ultimate. I mean, Earth itself. It's a nice planet, but the people are not doing very well here. As I read the newspapers, I can see problems for people, problems for leaders, and that's bad. People have to have somebody in authority, whether good or bad. It's getting to a place where nobody who will want to be leaders for people, if the people got so much trouble that it's going to capsize the boat of a leader, the leader's going to desert them. This is imminent for this planet. Leaders will be out, have their own country somewhere. Rulers, too. They'll desert the people. I heard that in England they had it already fixed up where they got their ships to take off in case the people starting and stuff with the queen or the ruler, they take off and leave. I read that about 10 years ago. The ship take off. And of course, you may be sure that the governments who've been out in outer space are prepared to leave here if the people get too assassinated in mind. If they just want, if they get on one of those things, they really got the people now because they can leave them. Space travel is definitely a thing right now. It's not about tomorrow. It's happening now. Communication with other beings, too, happening right now. So really it would behoove people to get themselves together quick so they can face realities. I mean, realities that they don't know anything about. The best way is to have imagination and to have some faith. By having some faith, they can open some doors. Because when you don't have faith, it's very bad. And I'm not speaking from a religious point of view. I'm just speaking from my heart. That if they have faith, they'll make it. You got a lot of other problems with women on the planet too. Women feel that they have to be submissive to men, so seemingly they don't want that anymore. But they haven't defined what they want yet. I was talking to two women the other day. They were religious people. They were out with that Bible and everything. So then one of them asked me, said, well, suppose you're wrong. So one of the fellows in the band said, well, suppose you're wrong. And she said, well, if I'm wrong, I'm having a good time being wrong. And that was the answer. I said, well, yeah, you just like your sister Eve then. It's all right for you to do wrong, but when a man does wrong, it's bad. But I've had, in dealing with these questions about things, you have to get out to the nitty-gritty. Some more women came. They said that the world is the way it is because man caused it to be like this, and God is going to destroy it because man has messed the world up. And I said, well, it's a man's world. I said, I didn't know it was a man's world. I thought it was a woman's world all along because Eve was the first one who broke the law, according to the book. She's the first lawbreaker. She led man where he's at, so it's a woman's world after all. So then I would say, what do women want then? Since they got the world in their hand anyway, they've led man this far. They led him to do wrong. Possibly they can lead him to do right now. These different stories that come down, always putting the fault on women, like Pandora, and she opened a box that let some bad things out on the world. They're told not to open the box. I believe the woman would do that. She would open the box. She'd also eat off the tree too if she's told not to. So this comes down to the point of looking at things the way they are. I would say that women shouldn't be afraid to go into outer space. Probably might feel they might lose their authority or their hold over some men if they went out there, but they can't hold a man anyway. Death always comes and get him. So then they should stop being so backward to think they have anything on this plane of existence. When they get to that point, they'll stop all this foolishness and face facts. They should face facts that whatever it is in the universe is harsh and cruel and destructive. It makes no difference. They already got equality, the equality to be destroyed, just like man. So actually, they shouldn't be seeking that. They should be looking for something better that's on a higher plane. I'm not speaking by religion, but I'm sure if they use their intuition, they would finally come to an answer to their problems. Possibility that in music, they can find it. Now, music speaks all kind of things, so I'm sure if they start listening to the music, other than to the body music, if they start listening to some music, they'll get some answers, and they'll be coordinated and harmonized the way they should be. So will man. Man should listen to all types of music. So I'm saying that to say that dealing with outer space is not too far-fetched. It's not as mysterious as death. It's right out there where you can look at it. It's not hiding. You can get right out there and look at the stars. You're looking at outer space. If you're here, why can't you go there? What's the difference in being on this planet and being on Jupiter? Both of them sitting out here in space. To be in love with this planet, which nobody really owns. No man owns this planet. He always he uses it for a while, but it doesn't belong to him. So why get attached to something that doesn't belong to you? Better to go on out there. So my music is a thing to help to propel you on out there. Go on out there. Take a chance. Take a big gamble.
I often wonder, Sun Ra, if when you play, your music has a desired effect. But you told me a story once that makes me think, at least for people who've opened themselves up or who haven't been corrupted, that it has. You told me a story about one time you went to an orphanage and you were playing the song Space is the Place. Would you be willing to tell that again?
Yeah, it was in Philadelphia. We were playing for this, yes, sort of orphanage. It's for children that have been deserted by adults, so that kind of place. For the last song, we played Space is the Place. The children had to be, in bed, going to their rooms by a certain time. But we were playing the Space is the Place, and they didn't want to leave. We marched out the door. They marched out behind us. That's the only way, a delicate way of saying where we marched out the door. The only problem about it, children marched out the door behind us, and then the teachers and everybody had to come and get them, and then finally we just had to stop playing. That's the only way, because they were singing Space to Place. This Space to Place has been able, every country we go into, the people be singing Space to Place. So actually, the people are ready as far as I'm concerned. I don't have no doubt that I probably could get maybe 10 million people right here in America to sign up. Because I know at least 15 years ago or more in Chicago at the planetarium, they had people lined up around the corner to sign up to go to the moon.